Hello, I'm Paul Harvey of MNIT, and I'm here at the meeting show with Joe Austin of Lime Venue Portfolio, and Laura Capell Abra of Stress Matters. Hello, both of you. Welcome to TMS TV.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Great to be here.
Absolutely. No, it's great to have you. Now, you are here to talk about neurodiversity. Now, Joe, Lime Venue Portfolio is going big on neurodiversity at the show. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, really interesting, Paul, actually. We did some research into meetings of the future, and there was a few things that had come out of that. And that was that actually events are for all, and actually not all events are geared up for all. And what came out of that was some of the challenges that some of our delegates could potentially have. And then we realised that this is actually all around neurodiversity.
Okay.
And so we kind of looked at each other and said, you know what? There's something in this. This is definitely something that's massively important. And not being experts, we said, right, we need to do in true Lime Venue Portfolio fashion, find an expert to talk to us about that. And that's when we met with Laura and talked with Laura about the plans for making it more accessible in the events industry for neurodiverse people.
Fantastic. And you certainly did find an expert. Laura, can you tell us a bit about what you are doing with Lime to help out?
Yeah, absolutely. So we worked with the team at Lime, Joe and her lovely team, to think about how we could make events more inclusive. But not just kind of the events more inclusive, the entire process of organising an event and, of course, then attending the event. So you know there's so much concern sometimes about using the right language, not wanting to upset people. So we wanted to make it very easy for people to engage in the conversation and actually start the conversation for many people. So we worked on a toolkit, and we've also been running some workshops to upskill the team and make them feel more confident having those good conversations.
Fantastic. Now, the toolkit's being launched here at the show, is that right?
Absolutely. So following an amazing training session from Laura and her team, this has been a real soul-searching piece of work that all the team have just benefited massively from. And I think we've also found that whilst this is going to be incredibly useful in our work environment, it's been incredibly useful personally for a lot of our team.
Yeah. And I was going to ask about that. I mean, is there anything that's come out of it that you've learned that you didn't know before, obviously, that kind of what...
we've learned a lot that we didn't know before, I think, but what we have learned is not to be afraid of it, and actually to learn how to handle it with dignity, and actually, recognise that people actually do want to talk about this, and we can now talk about this in a way that actually we're not experts at it. We just know how to start the conversation and then continue the conversation. But these are conversations that really have to happen in the meetings and conference and event world moving forward.
Yeah.
And so I feel incredibly privileged to be part of this journey. And the toolkit is designed to do just that, signpost to absolute experts, and some great reading matter comes out of that as well. And just how we can all just be better in this space to make it, events and meetings for everybody.
So the toolkit then, what does that look like? What does it actually involve?
So essentially, in the toolkit, you've got a really kind of, I'd say basic overview, but actually for people that don't know a lot, it's going to be a really in-depth overview. So an overview of different language, as I said. So we've got some terms in there so people to kind of unpick what does this word mean versus this word. So giving people that confidence of what language that we can use. We've got suggested questions in there for the organising process. So actually these are some conversation starters, as we said, to actually getting our organisers, our venues, our team members just to think about things in a slightly more inclusive way.
Yeah. Can you give an example of kind of a question that you might be asking?
So one is, have you actually considered this? Have you considered your audience? So we know that some organisers are a bit more aware of their audience and their attendees than others. So we're encouraging people to actually ask sensible questions about finding out who's attending their event. Also getting people to understand whether or not this is something that they're considering in the communications, for example. So said whether or not it's the organising event or the actual getting people to the event, thinking about, well, how are you providing the instructions to join? How are you providing, what formats are you providing that in? Are you giving people the option of how they would like to attend? Do you have multiple rooms or multiple listening capabilities, for example? Do you have accessible spaces for people? And is the venue itself accessible for all types of people? So when we're talking about inclusivity, so often it's so broad. We're of course focusing on in this particular area neuro-inclusivity, but thinking very much about how can we make sure we understand our full audience to encourage that kind of thought process as we're going.
Absolutely. And so you're launching the toolkit tomorrow. What's that going to involve?
So what we've done is our stand at the meeting show at Line Venue Portfolio stand is all around neurodiversity. It's all around raising that. And actually what's happening is people are walking past going, what is all that about, right? Because there's an awful lot of great stories here at the show in different stands. This is actually quite unique. So what we're actually getting people in then to come and have a look, and we're just saying, this is what we're doing. Have you ever considered that in your event process? Where do you sit in the event process? Are you an organizer? Are you a delegate? Are you is this important to you? And the response we've had so far has been incredibly positive. And we're saying, look, there's a downloadable piece of kit here that's just going to help you in the language, but it's going to make anybody in your business less afraid of this hot topic and less afraid to discuss it, less afraid to ask the right questions in the right way, because we have a little bit more of an understanding of it. But most importantly for myself and my team, it's actually knowing where the signpost to where you can go for better assistance and better help. The other thing is we're taking this back into our business, and we're telling our business that, moving forward, we've talked sustainability for a lot of years, but this is part of the ESG journey, right? And now we're on the S bit of it. And this really, really is covering that off. And I think it's time we all started talking a little bit more about that. So this is the first step and our first introduction and our first kind of dip in the water with this topic, but I know this has got legs, and I think, like I say, personally and for our industry, it's just going to be phenomenal.
Yeah. So if people want to get hold of the toolkit, how do they do it? Is it on your website, presumably?
Yes, absolutely. And contacting Line Venue Portfolio will be on the website. It's a downloadable document. It's a really well-written document by Laura and her team that's easy to understand, really bite-sized chunks. This is a hot topic, but it's a very big topic, and it's a really quite challenging topic to get your head around. I mean, if you could say some other words, it would be pretty good, right? So, let alone spell them. But it is a really easy working document that people can share. And the aim at Line Venue Portfolio and from Stress Matters and Laura and her team is, let's get these messages out there. So it will be available on both our websites. It will be available for people to download, to understand that. And we just want this as the start of the conversations in this area.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining me, both of you. And it's I'm looking forward to getting my hands on the toolkit and having a look, because it sounds like a really interesting piece of work.
Great stuff.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Paul.
you.
Thank you.